I always used to say that money doesn't change people. It just reveals who they truly are. But even with that belief, when I won the money, I chose silence. It all started on a completely ordinary Tuesday. I just finished work, stopped at a gas station for a coffee, and on a whim I grabbed a scratch-off ticket. Sitting in my car, I scratched away the silver film and just stared at the numbers. My hands started to shake. I checked the ticket again and then a third time. $1 million. It wasn't fame or front-page news. It was just a quiet, life-altering amount of money that had suddenly landed in my lap. I didn't scream. I didn't call anyone. I just drove home in complete silence, my heart pounding, my mind racing. That night I barely slept. By morning, I'd made a decision. No one would know. Not my parents, not my siblings, not even my closest friends. You see, my family has always been complicated. I know they love me, but that love always seemed to come with strings attached. Favors were tallied up. Help was counted. Every act of kindness felt like it came with an invisible invoice. Growing up, I was always the reliable one. The one you called to borrow money from, knowing you wouldn't be asked when it was coming back. I was the one who helped move furniture, babysat at a moment's notice, fixed problems, and just quietly took the criticism. My older brother needs help with rent? I've got it. My sister needs a loan for her car? Sure, no problem. Holidays were filled with jokes about how I was just too nice and too soft. So when I won the money, my first instinct was to protect it, and not just the cash, but myself. I kept my same job, drove my old car, and stayed in my small apartment. I told absolutely no one. I quietly hired a financial advisor, set up investments, and made a careful plan. For the first time in my entire life, I actually felt safe. Then came the test. It wasn't something I planned for, it was just life. My car broke down. The repair was expensive, more than I expected. Of course, I could have paid for it easily, but a strange thought crept into my mind. What if I asked my family for help? Not because I needed it, but because I just wanted to see what would happen. I called my parents first. I explained my car had broken down and I was a bit short on cash. There was a long pause on the other end. My father sighed. "You really should be more responsible," he said. "At your age, you should have savings." My mother then chimed in, gently but firmly, "We can't help right now. Things are just too tight." That stung, but I tried to understand. Maybe they really couldn't help. So I called my brother next. The same brother I had helped more times than I could count. I explained the situation. He just laughed. "Man, that sucks," he said. "Wish I could help, but you know how it is. Kids, bills, life." My sister was the last call. She listened quietly, then said, "I just paid off my credit card. I can't go back into debt for anyone." Every single call ended the same way. Sympathy but no support. Advice but no action. What hurt wasn't the no, it was the tone. The subtle judgment. The way none of them even considered helping, despite everything I had done for them over the years. I stayed quiet. I paid for the repair myself and life moved on. But then, the real regret started to set in. A week later, my family gathered for my mother's birthday dinner. We were all sitting around the table, laughing and eating, when my brother started complaining about money. Then my sister joined in, and my parents too. Suddenly, the conversation turned to me. "You're lucky," my brother said casually. "You don't have kids. You should be helping us more." My sister nodded in agreement. "Yeah, you're always so quiet. You probably have a bunch of money saved up." I just smiled tightly, my heart pounding in my chest. Then my father said something that changed everything. He looked directly at me and said, "You know, family helps family. And when you have more than others, it's your duty to share." That's when it hit me. It didn't matter whether I had money or not. To them, I wasn't a person. I was a resource. If they knew about the $1 million, it wouldn't have brought celebration. It would have brought expectations, demands, guilt, and resentment. They would have rewritten our entire history to make my money feel like their money. I excused myself from the table and went outside. I sat in my car, the same car they thought I couldn't afford to fix, and I just cried. Not because they didn't help me, but because I finally understood who they were when they thought I had nothing. I never told them about the money. I still haven't. I help now when I want to, not when I feel pressured. I set boundaries. I say no. And when they ask why I've changed, I just smile. Winning the money didn't ruin my family. Asking them for help showed me the truth, and that's the part I regret the most. Thanks for listening.